What's up, everybody? Welcome to JTM Motorsports. My name is Steve Fast, and today we're in the shop, and as you can see, we have stuff everywhere. We got a big load of lumber for our mezzanine. We got our first beams just kind of up in place. I need to screw those together, and then we're going to be starting on putting the other beams and the posts that are going to make kind of the whole floor kind of shape of this entire thing. And then we're going to end up framing it up top and all that kind of good stuff. But we did start construction. Hopefully all this wood here is going to be up there very, very soon. And then we can have our whole upstairs area ready to go and kind of clear up some of this floor space, because we do have lights that are going to be going right here. They're all in boxes, ready to go. We got to get the electrician over here to get this all installed. But it has been very cold lately, and that's kind of why he's taken a few days to do other things, and he's going to be back when it's a little bit warmer, because to work in here all day is a little bit cold, especially because it's been anywhere from 6 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little bit colder than we normally get in Pennsylvania. It's kind of normal for Canada. It's actually probably a warm day in Canada, honestly, in the winter. But I have gotten a little bit soft in the Pennsylvania weather, so this does actually feel a little bit cold. But either way, I got my Canadian workwear on. I've got my Canadian work boots on, and I'm actually feeling pretty warm. I don't even need to have a toque on. Yes, a toque, because in Canada, that's what we call a winter hat. And I will never stop calling it that, even though I am an American now. But either way, we need to do some cold starts today, because I need to get all that wood there moved out of the way so we can get our posts in for the mezzanine, because when the guy dropped it off, it was a bit of a rush and ended up getting put a little bit too far forward. Where I wanted him to drop it was further back, but with this forklift, when he put it down, it ended up shooting it forward, and now it's in the way. So have to take a strap, wrap around that bundle of wood, and drag it over. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to move the Camaro and start up the Camaro in some of the coldest weather we've ever had in Pennsylvania since I've lived here. Not exactly what I want to do, but we're going to do a super cold start on that car today. So the first one for its cold start is going to be the Can-Am Commander. This thing usually doesn't have too much problems in the winter time. Get the key here. Turn it on. Get the radio going. Turn that off. Let the fuel pump run. She's a little cold, but first try, fired right up. Not a problem at all. All right, we're gonna let that one warm up just a little bit. I don't like cold starting them and just shutting them off right away. So we'll let that thing warm up and kind of recharge the batteries from that cold start. Now it's time to get the cover off the Camaro. This is something I didn't think I'd be doing until it got warmer out. And here she is in all her uncovered glory. We will be taking this car on Hot Rod Magazine Power Tour this year. I'm super excited for that. It's gonna be an absolutely amazing event, and I can't wait to take you guys along for the ride. But before we start up the Camaro, we are gonna have to move the catch-all, AKA golf cart, out of the way. I'm probably just gonna try to put this thing in neutral and drag it, because there's so much stuff in here, just because we're trying to find room to put things, and it's just a complete, utter disaster in here right now. So we'll put this thing in neutral. Hopefully we can drag this thing out of the way. Come on, baby. Ooh. She do not want to move. And if that's not an indication of how cold it actually is, that thing starts up pretty much right away all the time. And she was not liking it whatsoever. All right, now we got everything moved away from the front and the rear of the car so we can actually turn this thing around after we get it fired up. But before I fire this thing up in 10 degrees, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my heater. I've got my little DeWalt heater over here, and I'm just gonna shoot some warm air on this engine for about 10 minutes or so, just to kind of give it a little bit of a fighting chance. I don't really like the idea of starting my high performance car in this kind of temperatures just because everything has contracted. Even though I think it'll be fine, a little bit of heat will just give me a little bit more peace of mind. There we go. Look at that. Now we got it far enough away that it's not going to get any of the plastic too hot. So we'll give that about 10 minutes and then we're going to fire up the Camaro. So now, since we're going to need something to move that big pile of wood, I'm just going to put a strap around it and just kind of yank it out of the way just so it's out of the footprint of the new Mezzanine. We're going to use the 2014 Cummins. Now this truck has been sitting out here for a couple of days in the really cold temperatures, and as you can see, there is no cord in front of it. This truck has not been plugged in. Now, if anybody knows anything about diesels, they do not like to start in the winter, especially because they do run on heat, compression, and all that kind of stuff. This truck only has an intake heater. It doesn't have glow plugs or anything because it's a real diesel called a Cummins. So we're gonna let the intake heater run a couple of times and see if we can make some fire happen with this thing. Intake heater is going for longer than expected. Let's give that 2 cycles here. Always keep your batteries charged because it takes a ton of amperage to turn these things over, especially when they're cold. Oh yes, just like that, everybody. Put it in high idle and let this thing warm up. Look at that. All right, so I did make a little bit of a mistake by putting the heater on the front of the car. When I turned the start button on, I could see on the display that the exterior temperature was reading 84 degrees. Now, if I were to try to start this car at 84 degrees, it's gonna think that it's warm outside and the fueling is gonna be totally off, timing and all that good stuff. So what I had to do is just turn off the heater, let it wait. The engine will still retain some of that heat, but the front is gonna be cooler now to actually kind of what the temperature is now outside. So the air temperature that's going into the engine is gonna be what the ambient air temperature sensor is reading. So now we're gonna give this thing a try and hopefully she fires up nicely. And also drop in the comments, what do you think of my perfectly legal new license plate? Well, as you can tell, she's not liking the cold too much whatsoever. Let's see what our gauge reads. It's reading about 27 degrees Fahrenheit right now. And like I said before, it is about 10, maybe 12 degrees out right now. So it's not liking the cold too much, but we'll let it warm up a little bit and then we can move it. Go a couple 3,500 RPM revs, nothing too crazy. It's starting to run nice and smooth now, so that makes me very happy that none of the plugs are fouled out or any of that kind of stuff. I really didn't want to have to start it in this kind of cold. It's supposed to warm up next week, but we're kind of on a timetable with getting this Mezzanine built. But construction had to continue, so we had to get this stuff out of the way, and firing up the car was kind of inevitable. All right, not a whole lot of room to spare over here, but the car is now nicely out of the way. I go over and get my boots back on because my feet are freezing. This concrete is super cold. And hopefully we have enough room in here to get the truck in and try to yank this wood out of the way. Well, it's one way to make a mess, but I guess I can't really see this corner all that well, but ah well, that's all good. We'll put this all back together, get our strap hooked up here, and hopefully we don't knock everything else over, but you never know. And just as I thought, things didn't go so well over here. We knocked over a big pile of wood, and it doesn't look like this is gonna work whatsoever. We just don't have the right straight pull by using the truck. So we do have the skid steer over there. Let's fire that thing up. It's a little shorter. We can probably get it in right over here and then just get a straight pull on this and get it out of our way. Well, everybody, we did get the pile of wood moved out of the way so we can continue on with the mezzanine build. I know that there's probably 1,000 ways that you could have done this with the equipment and everything that I have, but drop in the comment section, how would you have done this? Because honestly, with about 5 minutes of thinking, this is what I came up with and it got the job done, so I'd say mission successful. So I finally broke down and put on my toque representing For the Tragically Hip, one of the best Canadian bands of all time. But we do have a little bit of a mess to clean up over here, so I'm gonna be getting at that, getting all this stuff moved out of the way so we have room to finish up. We're gonna put up our posts and everything like that and our other beam tonight. So I had to get all this out of the way, and I'm gonna be starting to put screws into that beam to make it all one big strong piece so we can get everything lag bolted into the posts and make it as strong as absolutely possible. So I can't wait to be able to actually go up into the mezzanine and see what kind of view we're gonna have. We're gonna have this all framed up. We're gonna put windows up there. It's gonna have heat, air conditioning, everything. I'm gonna have my office up there. We're gonna have some couches, a TV. It's just gonna be an absolutely awesome place to be in the shop. So this is just another step in the dream shop build. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me play around with some heavy equipment and maybe doing some things in maybe not the right way, but either way, we get the job done in the end, and that's all that really matters. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and as always, keep that hammer down.